Are you waiting to go back to normal? You know what we'll all go back to? It's absolutely going to be abnormal. I can't believe what traveling back to India is going to look like in just a few months. Hey, welcome back to my channel. A few days ago, somebody asked me to give a talk, webinar of course, on the topic of remodel your life to be a role model. I thought that topic was really interesting because the house that we live in right now, we've completely and extensively remodeled it after we bought. We remodeled every single room in this house, including the front yard, the courtyard, and the backyard. And I can tell you there are so many parallels between remodeling or renovating a house to transforming a life. And I want to talk to you about some real key changes that are absolutely needed if you want to thrive, succeed, and even flourish in the post-pandemic months or years. For example, how do you set yourself apart in a crashing job market? What makes you stand out and shine or even confidently change careers in this season? Now, having gone through huge remodel, there are 4 basic steps involved in any renovation, and it perfectly applies to our life if we choose to go through the process of transformation. Now, the first step in the transformation is you need to see it. You need to have a vision for your space and you need to have a vision for your life. The second thing is you need to strip. Strip means to remove. You have to demolish everything that needs to go before you bring in the new stuff. The third thing you need to do in the process of remodel is selection, choosing the new materials that should come in. And the fourth step is setting in. You need to take action to position the selected stuff in their new places. This step involves taking action to make your vision a reality. And as I thought about this process, what we did with our home, I was actually struck with a really fascinating thought, okay? It is actually about what we did not do. What we did not do is we did not invite a bunch of friends, show them our home before the remodel, and ask everybody's opinions of what we should or shouldn't be doing. We didn't do that. It was just me and my husband. We talked about it. We prayed, we envisioned our spaces, we just talked about what we wanted our spaces to look like, and then we took action. Now just imagine how chaotic it would be if we invited a whole bunch of people and took everyone's opinions of what we should or shouldn't be doing. And of course, all our friends would have been so happy to share their own 2 cents. But is that really what we needed or truly what we want? I feel like this lockdown period has been a great blessing in disguise just for that one reason. If you are thinking your life needs a transformation, your life needs a renovation, a redo, away from all the chatter and the influence and the chaos of comparison of external influences in your life, this is a great time. It's a great time for clarity. It's a great time to pull together and take stock of your life and cast a prayerful vision for your future. Let me walk you through these steps so that your life would be renovated, transformed, so that your post-lockdown days, your life after this lockdown will truly thrive. The first step to transformation is you need to see it. You need to have a vision for your life. You need to have a vision for what it is that you are looking forward to. Someone said you need to see it before you can have it. Now, if you walk around your house, you look at the stuff around you. Everything was made twice. Once in the mind of the creator and then physically. If you take this painting, it has to be first created in the mind of the person who envisioned it, and then it took its physical form. If you take the example of the cell phone that you're holding, Martin Cooper invented the mobile phone in 1973, and he envisioned people going outside of their homes, still going far away from their home and still being able to talk. He first got that idea in his mind, and then he collaborated with Motorola, I think, and they came up with this product and it became a reality. having a clear vision for your life or having a set of goals that you can actually work towards, it will propel you to a place of living your life on purpose. Goal setting is not about achieving a bunch of things. It's a process that you go through that makes you a different person. The process is what actually makes the difference. You cannot trade that process for anything in the world, because when you're working on the goal is actually working on you. You are becoming a different person through that process, because vision causes you to go from where you are to where you want to be. It is seeing what can be done. You probably might have heard about Helen Keller. She is a completely blind and deaf person, and she is the first blind person, in fact, to earn a bachelor's degree, and she went on to help millions of people who were disabled like her. And interestingly, somebody asked Helen Keller, what do you think is more worse than being blind? You know what she said? She said the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Isn't that interesting? Having no vision is the worst thing in the world. That's why the Bible clearly states in Proverbs 29:18, it says, where there is no vision, people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Now God has a vision for us. We need to catch it. We need to keep it in front of our eyes and let that guide us and be the direction for our lives. Where there is no vision, our mind is just so unrestrained, so directionless. We feel so stagnant. Our life feels so unfulfilled. Now God wants us to dwell on things that are excellent. And that's why I like this verse in Philippians. I think it talks about how we need to dwell on things that are pure, true, excellent, noble. Because what we think will manifest in our lives. What we think about, we bring about. You see, we have 6 intellectual faculties, which are imagination, reasoning, intuition, perception, memory, and will. And out of these faculties, imagination is a beautiful blessing that we so often don't use for ourselves. We use it against ourselves. We use it to imagine the worst things. We use it to imagine the scary things that we actually don't want to see happen in our lives. You know what we should instead do? We should instead use it to think about the best things that we want to see happen in our lives. God blessed us with imagination, so we can actually partner with Him and see His vision for our lives. The second process in the remodel is getting rid or stripping the old materials or the things that need to go. Before you begin the remodel, this is another important thing to do, important step to take. Remove the existing materials. Now, when we bought this home, the flooring was all carpet, and we did not want carpet in our house because it actually creates dust issues, and if kids have allergies, it can really create some problems, and we wanted to get rid of all the carpet. So when we thought hardwood flooring was the thing, and of course we put tile in some places, we had to remove the carpet before we installed the flooring. You cannot add new stuff onto old worn out materials. We could not bring the hardwood floor and put it laid on top of the carpet. Before you start the transformation in your life, you need to get rid of certain things. There needs to be things that are removed from your life, like wrong mindsets, negativity, negative people, bad habits and routines. And let me talk a little bit about wrong mindsets, okay? All battles are won or lost first in your mind. You know that mindset is more important than skill set, right? In the global survey of a certain company called Reed, 96% of the employers picked mindset over skill set as their key element in hiring people or retaining people. Isn't that interesting? You are 3 times more likely to keep a job or get into a new job because of your mindset rather than your skill set. Here are some mindsets we need to get rid of to thrive in this post-lockdown, post-pandemic world. The mindset of making excuses and passing responsibility. That's a big one. Now, if you have a habit or a mindset of making excuses, you will never be able to make it far in life. He that is good at making excuses, you might have known this proverb, is seldom good at anything else. The second thing you need to get rid of is playing the victim. Always being in a mindset that you are a victim of someone else's bad decisions or abuse of power, or you are the victim of bad economy, or always saying like, I was going to do that, or I was going to start a business but the economy dipped. I couldn't do that because someone else did this to me, or there is no opportunity to do what I want to do. When you are operating in victim mentality, your creative instincts are actually sitting on the shelf. You're not in your most creative mode. Another thing that you need to get rid of is comparing. Comparison is one thing you need to completely strip and remove and toss it out of your life. If you truly want to be transformed, it is so important to know that comparison is a crippling game. Anytime we begin to compare, we begin to lose, because when you compare, one of these two things will happen. You will either feel too good about yourself and become proud, or you'll feel too bad about yourself and it'll make you feel like you are inferior and it'll discourage you. Comparison paralyzes you from taking action. Now, God gave each of us a unique fingerprint. No one else has it, so we can leave a unique imprint no one else can. So stop comparing yourself and take action without the comparison. Another important thing that you need to get rid of is negative or toxic people. We all have at least one negative, toxic person in our lives, don't we? And here's an interesting thing. When you go for a walk, I don't know if you're going for a walk right now in this pandemic, but we've been at least trying to go for a walk once in 2 days with our family, and I've noticed something magical happen, okay? You either keep up the pace with the person who's walking with you, or you slow down to their pace, okay? You either adjust to their pace or they adjust to your pace. So my question for you is, whose pace are you adjusting to? Are you adjusting to a negative person's pace? It's hard to get rid of negative people, especially if they are your family members. But I highly recommend you don't spend as much time with them, that you don't share your deepest goals and desires, especially when they're operating in that negative mode. I encourage you to guard yourself in that and be aware of the negativity. Another important thing that you need to get rid of is messed up routines or messed up habits. The success of your life is hidden in your daily routine. Do you have a daily routine? I struggled with it for years. John Maxwell says, if I can come to your house and follow you around from the time you wake up till the time you go to bed, just for one day, I can tell you if your life will be a success or a failure. Many of us have uphill aspirations but downhill habits. Do you know that people are rewarded in public for what they practice in private? Now, I don't know what each of you are aspiring to be, but whatever field you take, whether it's technology or research or athletics or music or writing or speaking, whatever field, they all reach that level of excellency from hours and hours of practicing and being disciplined with it. Champions are not made in the ring. They're simply recognized there. What you do every day determines your future. Leadership is first leading yourself. We all want to be leaders. We want our kids to be leaders, but leadership is actually leading yourself first. And leadership develops daily, not in just one day. So check what routines and habits you need to toss out and what you need to incorporate, because the secret of your success is in your daily routine. The next step in the remodel is selection. Selecting the things you need to use for your remodel. This is all about choices and decisions. That is what is there in this step, because we live or die by the decisions we make. And how do you make choices? Because your destiny is a direct result of your decisions. How things happen for you in the next 2 years or 20 years is the result of the decisions you make right now. And if you're like me and you feel confused and you don't know what decision to make at times, the Bible has a beautiful verse in James 1 verse 5. The verse says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. The Lord is more than willing to help us make wise decisions if we choose to actually ask him and seek him and depend on his wisdom. Also, it is very important to remember not to make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. Sometimes we go through really sudden flood of emotion and we make permanent decisions based on those sudden fickle feelings. Feelings are fickle and they change. So don't make permanent decisions based on those temporary feelings. The final thing in the process of renovation is you need to set it. Final transformational step here is taking action, the major step of action. I remember when we were actually remodeling our kitchen, there was this huge piece of granite that we purchased for our countertops, and it was supposed to be brought into the place, into the kitchen for positioning it. After all the polish was done, it was supposed to be brought in. And when they were bringing it in, I remember feeling very scared. I almost wanted to say, let's not do it today, we will do it tomorrow. Procrastinator that I am. But sometimes, when it finally comes to the moment of taking action, when our vision has to become a reality, we feel like we prepared for it all our life, but suddenly we feel an overcome of fear. We are so overcome with fear. And this last part, I want to talk about overcoming certain kinds of fears, because it's so important if you want to be an action taker. Overcoming the fear of what people might think. The number one reason you can't get to where you need to be or where you want to be is because you keep letting other people's expectations or opinions or limitations steal what God has planned for you. You need to quiet down all that noise around you and really crystal clear hear the guidance that He's giving you. Other kinds of fears are overcoming fear of failure, overcoming rejection, overcoming inconvenience. All these are rooted in fear. Comfort and convenience runs the lives of unsuccessful people. And the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little word, extra. If you are willing to put in that little extra every day, your life can be extraordinary. And when this pandemic is over, you'll come out being an extraordinary person. There will be no transformation if we don't see our vision right. Strip away negativity, remove everything that needs to go, set our decision making firm on the wisdom of God, and take action overcoming fear. I really hope and pray that your life after this lockdown will shine much, much brighter than ever before. Remember though, be unafraid and you will become undefeated. I'll see you again next week.